Brad.
Oh, my goodness. Big crowd.
Right?
Okay, we'll call this meeting in order. Delaware County Commissioners, Monday, June 19, 2017. Stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Start off with public comment. Yeah, we don't have any public comment. Okay. I guess we don't have any public
Let's
comment.
go that way.
Okay. We got any COS reviews here yet or not? Here they are. The minutes for the June 12th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections as they were mailed?
Move to approve as submitted.
I'll second the motion.
Move second to approve the minutes for June 12, 2017. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
How are you? Good. This can be expected.
We'll go, just some more show, we'll go back to public comment. Anybody here have public comment?
I just need to see about getting on the roster. My taxes on my house were being overcharged an extra 1,000 square feet of living space for the past 7 or 8 years. And I went upstairs to the state and they said that I had them come out, they reassessed, they got them down here in 2016, but they said previous to that I have to come back to the county because they don't take care of it at that point because it's retroactive. So I don't know what I need to do to get on the roster or whatever to be able to bring information, but basically I've overpaid my taxes on my house for 7 years or so, 6, 7 years, something like that, so.
Yeah, as I said, get all that information and then just get on the agenda and we'll go from there.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I think the questions have to get on the agenda.
Yeah, what do I need?
Michelle upstairs in the accounting office, Michelle Beebe,
Okay,
she can get you on, and we have 2 others we're addressing on the 28th, which is Wednesday, because we won't be here on Monday.
sure,
So if you want to get on with them,
yeah.
you'll be in good company.
Okay, I won't be here on the 28th, but I can have the information put together for you.
Okay.
I take off out of town I'm gone next week for work, so.
Okay,
You
yeah,
need to
letter
be here
works.
or if you want to have it to a later time when you're here, so it's up to you.
Yeah, I might have my wife come. or
Oh,
something
okay.
like that, so, but, all right, so I'll
Yeah.
check with her. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a good-
Any other public comment? Mike, did you
Do I need to come to you? I've talked to all three. Do I need to bring it up to you guys again in the commissioner meeting about the rack next door?
Now it's within your
Okay,
job description,
okay.
yeah,
Then I'll just go on.
all right.
Just making sure.
Unless you guys have a different opinion, I think that could bog us down.
Yeah.
anything else on the public comment or any community update things or not?
Absolutely. This is the time that, more than anything, we should share that the video's back and working. So we'll have our movies back on YouTube starting today. But also, you know, for us three, there's a lot of homework that we do outside of just this meeting. Just learning about different issues, putting together ideas that may or may not work. And this Commissioners' Community Update is the time to bring those forward. If there's mosquito complaints, like we heard about last week, bringing those to this board before working alone with the contractor actually serves our citizens better than just one person doing their own thing. So I would ask that we start using this part of the agenda as the tool it really was meant to be when it was started. With that in mind, I was involved with a couple of community meetings last week, specifically to help organize the garage sale. And also Montana Board of Crime Control continues to be something we're working on. We have till the end of December to put together our plan with Department of Corrections and Department of Justice and the Governor's Budget Office on the transition. And we had one of our staff, he was requested to go to Washington, D.C. To work directly with our federal partners out there who do not think that the juvenile justice grants can transfer. So we may have an issue. We've already seen the hit of $330,000 in non-funded juvenile detention. So we want to minimize that because that goes directly on the property taxpayers when the state doesn't do its share. So it's a big deal for counties. And if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Is that 300, that's 330,000, is that a state figure?
Mm-hmm. It was divided between the 3 juvenile detention centers left, and that actually our district, our region, voted to actually put all that money to sustaining our juvenile detention center rather than having the 50% grant that went to each of the counties individually. The reason for that is we pay about $325 a night for a juvenile in detention. If we lose all our centers in Montana, it's about $700 to $900 per night, which can very quickly hit a budget. And the average time a kid goes without even seeing the judge for the first time is 41 days. So you do that math and it adds up fast. I'd like to hear some details on what you guys are working on as well.
I got a couple of road complaints as well as some mosquito complaints. The road complaints were Wheatland and Rolling Glens roads.
Did you pass those to Dana?
Yeah, I talked to, and the gal said that she had talked to Dana. And I also passed on the letter from the post office about Muddy Lane. I put that in his mailbox. And I also received a energy audit on the ambulance building. You got a copy of that, Franklin? Mine's on my desk. You could look at that.
Okay.
See if we can get something different going on with that thing. And then I put a letter on your desk, one on your desk for the TV district that I want to put in the paper. You had said something about possibly putting that on Townsend Classifieds. Do we have somebody that can do that?
We do, and also the community website.
Okay.
You can go on all of those.
Other than that, that was about it.
Yeah, meetings, phone calls on roads, also on some mosquito and weed stuff. Quite a few of them contact me. Other than that, business as usual. We're just a little ahead. You have a COS?
Yes, I do. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a boundary relocation with Brad Campbell, Double C Ranch, and Nancy Marks. The property here, the head gate, was on Nancy's property. So they're doing a boundary relocation just right around the head gate so that it's on Brad's property. It's 0.07 acres. So not a big change, but a boundary relocation.
I'll move to support that boundary relocation for Campbell's and Marx's.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved to second to set the boundary location of the Marks Campbell Headgate area. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Is that the head gate on Broadwater, Missouri, or is it on Deep Creek?
Redwater, Missouri.
Broadwater, Missouri.
Ray Creek, yeah.
And Ray Creek,
Or-
where the two come
I said
together.
Deep Creek, I guess, didn't I? I meant Ray Creek, yeah, okay. Anyway,
It's right there at the intersection of the Broadwater, Missouri and Ray Creek.
right, right.
It's not much, but it's important.
Thank you very much, that's all for today. We'll
Thank you.
give her that
Thank
half
you.
hour.
Yeah, right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Okay. Just a few minutes ahead of schedule. I'm assuming you're with Rocky Mountain.
Yes.
Mountain? Okay,
Yes.
well, come on up or stay where you're at, whichever you wanna do. You can come up to the
Okay.
table or.
Sure. Sorry, Chrissy.
These are copies of our work plan for our community service block grant
Thank you.
reporting. There you go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello,
Thank
this
you.
is our budget allocation request.
Maybe I'll sit up here. It's like church, you don't come to the front room. Thank you for inviting us to come down and present our budget request and our work plan for 2018, 2019. You may remember that a couple of months ago, I emailed you our work plan for the year that we're in right now. It had slipped through the cracks and we had not obtained the county sign-offs on that. And so that's why we're coming to you so soon with a new one, because the way it's supposed to work is in the cycle of us putting our work plan together for our community service block grant funding. We are supposed to obtain the sign-offs from all the counties that we serve, and we had somehow neglected to do that. So we were playing catch-up, and now we're back on track by asking you for one on our new work plan. So this is the work plan, this document right here. And it's a little overwhelming to look at when you actually try to read through it. It's a lot of detail. It's a prescribed format that our state Department of Health and Human Services requires us to use to submit basically a plan of what we're going to do or what we expect to do over the next 2-year period. The CSBG Community Services Block Grant funding is funding that is for a calendar year period. So this is for the calendar 2018-2019 timeframe. And if you want to spend some time reading through it, you'll see that what we do is we say, a good example is our Head Start program, which is what we start with on the very top page. We say how many children we're going to have in our classrooms, and we talk about how many parents we're going to serve in the family outreach part of the program. And it goes on from there. Likewise, when you get to our energy services program, you'll see how many people we anticipate serving with energy assistance and weatherization during that time frame. So I don't know how familiar, I know Mike has been serving on our board for about 6 months. Has that been that long?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's gotten a little more familiar with what Rocky does, but just as a reminder and a quick overview, we run a Head Start program with 236 slots in Lewis and Clark, Broadwater, and Jefferson counties. And we currently have 15 classrooms all across those 3 counties. And the model for Head Start emphasizes parent involvement and family involvement. So we not only have teachers and teaching assistants, but part of the staff are called family advocates, and they reach out to the families and visit with the families and encourage their involvement in the classroom. Our energy assistance program includes low-income energy assistance for heating bills during the winter months, as well as weatherization to homes that are prioritized off the LEAP eligible client list. And then Energy Share is also part of that program. We also have a variety of senior programs. We run the congregate meals in many locations throughout the Tri-County area, as well as Meals on Wheels. And our Area 4 Agency on Aging serves the same 3 counties, but 3 additional counties, which are Gallatin, Park, and Barr counties. For some reason, that area was defined differently than the HRDC Tri-County area when it was formed. And so they used to operate on their own, and then so many years ago, they became part of the Rocky organization. So we have those extra counties. And Area 4 on Aging actually passes through the funding to a lot of the senior centers and meal sites in their counties that they serve, and they operate assistance, information and assistance, and like Medicare counseling. They help seniors navigate through the process of getting signed up for Medicare, and if they have issues with any of their billing for Medicare, we've got counselors who try to assist folks with that. And we've got long-term care ombudsmen in that program who are visiting nursing homes and assisted living facilities, and basically just being present in terms of advocating for people if there's any kind of issue, making sure that the conditions, the living conditions are good and safe and comfortable for folks. Let's see what else. We run a senior bus in the Helena area. We also run a senior companion and foster grandparent and retired senior volunteer program. And we have affordable housing, of which 2 of our sites are here in Broadwater County. Townsend Homestead Manor and Townsend Housing Inc. are 2 of our properties. And I think that about covers the overall view of what we do. We also brought you a couple of spreadsheets. You handed those out already. Do you want to talk about those, Chrissy? She's the one who's the most familiar with the spreadsheet numbers.
Sure, I can. So the first part of this is a narrative that talks, expands more on what Lori was just talking about with our various programs and the counties we're in. So if you go to, kind of in the middle here, you'll see these 3 spreadsheets. Basically what these are, this is the same packet that we presented to the Lewis and Clark County Board of Commissioners. And there's 3 scenarios here, and you'll see them highlighted in the green squares at the top. And that's the increase, proposed increases over the next couple years. So the first spreadsheet is a 0% increase. So that's just if the same funding allocation applies to our fiscal year 18. The next page is a 1.5% increase. And then the third page is a 3% increase over the next couple years. And we really like to show the next couple fiscal years going out because it really highlights where, based on the same program spending, where we'll be in about 2 years. So if you look at that first page, the request we are making at a 0% increase to Broadwater County would be an amount of $33,281. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
And then if you look at it says unallocated, overallocated county mill, that number of $124,179. That would be our carryover of total combined tri-county mill to move forward to our fiscal year 19. And then our carryover at the end of fiscal year 19 would be $42.71. So really where we're looking is if there's no increases going into that fiscal year 20, we will be at a deficit of 115,637, based on our programmatic spending levels where they are right now. We've been really fortunate to have Area 4 be getting some additional federal funding at the end of the federal fiscal year over the last, basically since our fiscal year 2014. Area 4 has gotten this influx of funding, normally in the spring. And basically that's allocated to all of their contractors, and it just helps spend less county mill, basically, for our meals programs. And we did not receive that extra money in our current fiscal year that's about to end on June 30th. And we just can't expect to be receiving it, given where things are right now. So this really is based on not receiving that additional funding. And the other thing I would add to this is that we believe our increase from Lewis and Clark County will be 1.3% for fiscal year 18. Does anyone have any questions on the budget spreadsheet? I think it's kind of nice to see next in the proposed fiscal year 18 column, under program recipients, it lists all of our programs that we offer in all of the different counties, and then the total program costs and what our county mill is as a percentage of that. Anything else you want to add, Lori?
No, but I probably just want to add emphasis to Chrissy's comments about why we have carryover and why we have had carryover for the last few years in a row, and that it has been because of the Area 4 funding coming in and not being necessarily expected, and so then we don't have to spend all of our county mill, we carry that over, and it sort of becomes a little bit of a reserve account for the future for the programs that we can use the county mill for. So that's just the only thing I wanted to add emphasis. We are under the impression from our Area 4 program director that they're not expecting any additional funding this year. I think you are all probably familiar with proposed cuts and the process in Washington as far as budgeting. We're just not sure what to expect will come out of that. A lot of the programs that we run are, you know, at risk of losing funding, but it's hard to say what will end up happening. So that's why we project forward, just so we can say, okay, if we get nothing extra, this is where we're going to be. So.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, just to bring you up to speed, Lori, we have we've assumed we're going to get at least a 3% increase to our valuations this year. So we're assuming a 3% increase for all of our floating mill departments, which you guys are.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Very
so
nice, thank you.
unless there's a unforeseen and really baffling turn of events, we should have at least a 3%.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be great.
Yeah, and then every year, anything that's left over from just the mills has gone into a CIP to help with maintenance, additional costs, so we also have a little bit of a carryover should that be needed in the future.
Is that something that organizations can ask for special funding, or is that just your reserve that you're carrying forward similar to ours?
It's actually your reserve that we're carrying over. What we do is we put it in a capital improvement plan for the senior center.
Oh.
And
Okay.
then Elsie and that board come to us and say, we need a new stove hood, we need a new shed, we need
Nice.
new chairs, new tables, that kind of
Okay.
thing. So
Okay.
I don't
kind
think I
of took the place of
realized
the
that.
micro grants that we used to have.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Thank
you
you.
might not have known about it. There's a little bit in there.
And I may have been told, and it may have just not been right at the top right now. but
You've
I-
been drinking from a fire hose for a
Yeah.
couple of years now.
Yeah, we did that kind of on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
It's nice to
Yeah.
hear that. I hadn't heard about that before.
I'm sure
I'll
Walter
get you
is.
the total,
Oh, yeah,
if
that'd be
you
great.
like.
Yeah, thank you.
I really like that.
Yeah,
I guess the only other thing is, as far as the work plan goes, like I said, I know it's a lot of pages and it's a lot of small print, and trust me, it overwhelms me and Kathy who puts it together. We have to report out on it every year to the state as well, and this is the first time that Kathy and I have been involved actually in the process of putting together the one for the upcoming 2 years. And so if you guys have any questions as you look through it, feel free to reach out to me. What we'll be looking for from you is a letter similar to the one you did a couple of months ago. So I don't know if you would you like me to email you, or do you think you still have that? We would just need to update the dates, but I'm happy to email you a Word version that you can, the three of you can sign. I didn't bring one with me.
that's fine, email's easier if you could do that and
Because
just
then
say.
you can put it on your
Yeah.
letterhead and,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that would be awesome.
yeah.
Thank you.
You guys do great work for our county. I can't
Thank
see
you.
any reason why we wouldn't sign right now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
very much.
Any other questions or comments to people there? I got one comment on your Head Start. You said the children and the parents are kind of interacting together. I think that's really good.
It's kind of what sets that program apart from your typical preschool program, is the requirement to involve parents. And part of the governance of that program involves what's called a policy council, which has representatives from the classroom sites, their parent representatives, and there's a handful of community representatives that sit on that council. And Head Start's model is called shared governance. So all policy decisions and major management decisions for that Head Start program have to go through the policy council as well as the Rocky Board. And so it's kind of a different kind of a model and can sometimes create headaches, but for the most part, I think it works really well. And it gives the parents a voice. And one of the things I've noticed since I've been doing this position at Rocky is we've got a chairperson on that policy council who sits on the Rocky Board. And I've watched her go from somebody who had trouble speaking in front of the group at all into being someone who's really found her voice and who can articulate her beliefs and talk about the program and really be an advocate. And that's been a really cool thing.
That's excellent.
That's what the program is meant to do. And I just want to thank Mike for being our board representative. It's a pleasure to have you there.
Thank you.
I hope you're enjoying it.
You've said positive things after each meeting, I think,
I
on
learn
our
something new every
Monday.
day.
Well, one of
Yeah.
the things that seems to be the general theme is, wow, this is really broad. And we're like, yeah. Yeah, it is. But it's like, you do it every day and then you hear somebody make that comment and it's sort of validating. Like, okay, that's why I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut. So,
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and thank goodness.
yeah, we enjoy
Uh,
it.
And we rely on you. You know, one of the things that came out of the Area 4 meeting a couple months ago, maybe a couple years ago, but our growth is like 68% people over 65. And then with federal cuts to conjugate meals, Meals on Wheels,
Mhm.
and senior services, that's again another burden that the federal government isn't doing their part for, which is gonna land on our property taxpayers at some point, because if you have a soul, you can't let people die in the streets. That's not who we
Right.
are as a
Right.
nation or as a community.
Absolutely.
So we will rely on you guys even more, I think, in the future, moving ahead, and I think you're gonna have to rely on counties too,
Mhm.
because, you know, it's
Yeah.
trickle down, I guess. Economics is what we're looking at.
Right.
Yeah. So I really appreciate the work you guys do.
Thank you.
It's essential.
Thank you very much. And likewise, you you have a lot on your plates as well, I'm sure.
For a good partnership.
Yeah, it is, yeah, thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll read.
I would like names for the record.
Lori Lattis, Loriladas.
Okay.
Kathy Marks with a K-N-Y, and Marks is M-A-R-K-S.
Okay.
Chrissy Irie, CHRISY-IREY.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, we're waiting for your.
Thank you for inviting us.
While we
you.
have this on the agenda, I would like to move that we adopt the plan, the work plan for RMDC and the proposed budget at 3%.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so move and second to adopt the work plan and the budget. Rocky. Any more discussion? No more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
This.
You
I
too.
needed to keep it. just
No,
in
I
case
really
needed it.
don't need
Oh,
a
you don't?
copy.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hello.
Yeah, 10:30, Jeremy Vadas, WWC.
Thank you, Commissioners. How are you guys today?
Good.
Good.
Quiet in here.
Yeah.
Well, number one, we got the bridge project out for bid last week. So we got that advertised and it's out there. So let's hope we start seeing some interest. We haven't really gotten any phone calls yet, but it's only been out for a couple of days. So I'm here today just to talk about the CDBG planning grant application for a updated growth policy, capital improvements plan, and floodplain ordinance is what we put together last year. By the time we got, this was something that we worked on last year. We put the application together. It's basically done. By the time we got signatures, by the time we got letters of support and things last year, we were just too late and the money had already been spent. Some years they're highly competitive, and other years it seems like they have money kind of sitting around for a while. Last year happened to be a very competitive year. They had a lot of applications and not enough money. So Broadwater County wasn't the only one. We had another one that we turned in 2 weeks after the deadline and they still didn't get funded. So the money went really quick. So anyway, basically what I'd like to do is just get your approval to essentially dust this application off. It's going to be the same exact application we submitted last year. So not a lot of work is going to have to go into it. But it's